Nina is really just super fun because she has extremely flashy plays and a flashy play style. And, you know, already said her name, so let's go ahead and do that player intro down here on the bottom right-hand side of the map. The blue Protoss player from SkyStorm Gaming. She is Nina.
I just had the image of SkyStorm gorming. I just imagine all the players doing the whole a gorm face, you know? I don't know why that
gorm face is.
Like, it's like where you just kind of open your mouth and just, you know, just look weird. But
I just Googled it. Oh, no.
SkyStorm gorming. But anyhow, spawning in the top left as I read Protoss, it is MCanning.
I've never heard of this before. That's amazing.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that imagery, Ben. Yeah, just to finish my thought, though, like Nina, I think that one thing I really, really appreciate about why her stream is really fun, because she also does stream quite a bit, is that I think she has a flashy playstyle. The way I always like to put it is there are a lot of players who, whenever you're like making choices about risks and stuff you want to take, it's not always risks in the sense of like, I should go all in here or I shouldn't go all in. There are also risks in terms of like stability, right? So there might be a play where it's like, if you can execute this perfectly, you will come out like ahead. And it's kind of like, but it's very difficult to execute. And if you get it wrong, you're going to actually be behind. Nina is one of the players that it's like, if you give her an opportunity to get like 2% or like 1% further ahead in exchange for a large risk, Nina is the player who will take that risk. And it makes her a very high risk, like sometimes low reward player, which oftentimes led to a lot of her inconsistency, I think, in the past. But it's very fun to watch.
I enjoy watching her play. Like in the past, I was like, Nina, don't do another Colossus drop. But then it came out. But yeah, her Blink Stalker play and general kind of like killer attitude is always very cool. And even when I think players are coming up and they're going to do really well, like I think they're really good, and then I see them against Nina, and Nina's just like, splat, like, here you go, like, welcome to the big leagues. And it's just like, holy crap. Even though we don't get to see her against a lot of the Europeans, especially, which is obviously where I live, when I've seen her against the likes of Parding, who's obviously a bit of a god, and she can take series off Parding, not just maps. And it's like, wow, she's obviously got the skills to pay the bills. This game, they both opted for double Stalker, double Sentry afterwards, and those Nexus, bang on the exact same second there.
Yeah, both these players going to be playing complete mirror builds and everything here. And I'm in full agreement with you on, I think, the capabilities of Nina, not only being able to beat Party, but I think even back in the day, there were times where it's like Nina was defeating some like top-notch level Koreans, taking maps off of them and doing really well. Maybe not everyone will agree with me on this, but I think even back in the day, there were times where I have been many a time recorded saying like, I think Nina on her best day can take maps or even a series off of some of the like top like 12 or top 16 players in the world. But it was just a matter of consistency in a lot of ways, and she wasn't the most consistent player. But I think again, she has her entire like playstyle and consistency, I feel like, has been directly correlated how much she's enjoying life in the game, and I think she's really found a good happy groove in her life lately.
Yeah, I hope so. Always helps when things are going well out of the game, and really showcase in the game as well. This game, I'm just looking at what both their tech choices are. Like Nina's obviously going for Blink Stalkers, which I think is far more normal, whereas MCanning going straight into that Robo. I'm curious about what he does and where he goes with what he's doing. Because yeah, opening up the Robo straight away, definitely a little unusual, but totally MCanning.
Yeah, that is going to be kind of interesting to see how that shakes out, and if this is gonna pay off for him. If you go for the Robo a little bit earlier, I mean, I guess there might be like some kind of scary moments here and there, but it's not like Nina's actually going for any of those super hyper aggressive builds that are gonna hit before anything will really be ready there for MCanning. So, well, looks like he'll be okay with it for now. And hey, Ben, I mean, I don't think anyone is ever gonna argue with the idea of MCanning getting closer to disruptors a little faster.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking about. So they are both going for the same stuff, just in a slightly backward way, but the third bases go down exactly at the same time. MCanning obviously reinforcing his army with Immortals quite quickly. But yeah, that means his army's a bit more stocky. And on a map like Romanticide, I don't dislike that choice. Oh, skipping Blink and going straight for charge. That's unusual, but we've been seeing a lot more of it recently, like in the Skillers versus Hellraiser matchup, and also I think it might have been in Drogo versus Mana, but we'll see what happens here.
Ooh, good game sense there from MCanning. He actually already started moving his army forward, expecting that there could be an attack from this northern angle with some stalkers. So he was relatively in position, and even just hallucinating this immortal over here makes it kind of scary for Nina to poke in over there. His army is actually something that Nina, with her level of control and her Blink Stalker macro, should absolutely be able to poke away at. She's going to move forward. She actually goes after the sentries, ignores the immortal entirely, is going to be able to be rewarded with completely shutting down any form of vision MCanning has on the map outside of an observer that he really just wants to keep at home right now.
Oh, and he had to remake those. And this Warp Prism, the hallucinated Warp Prism showing up over here. Oh, okay. I love the fact that she sent it out of vision there. So MCanning is going to be like, oh, there's a Warp Prism over there, right? But we know that it's not, but I don't think he saw it, actually.
Yeah, I think he might have just barely missed it. It was on the edge of his vision, I think, because only one of the gas geysers actually was in range of it. So maybe it was just one of those things where MCanning was in a macro cycle, and, you know, Nina ends up maybe not getting the best value just because he wasn't quite on top of it. But looking for a probe snipe off or something over here. Snipes off another sentry. These sentries, that's 400 gas worth of sentry snipe so far. And Nina has lost a stalker here and there. Has actually lost 3 stalkers across the course of this game. Has to be careful not to lose any more. But still, the value of sniping off vision for your opponent is massive.
The big thing here that's scaring me a little bit for Nina is the fact that she's gearing up for Disruptor Wars. And why not? You're against MCanning. But MCanning, he's being like, all right, I'm not getting Blink at all here. And I'm going to go straight into lots of Zealots, Archons, you name it. He might be going for the big wraparound play and trying to catch Nina off guard entirely.
There is actually a very good reason, Ben, why Blink Stalker Disruptor, there was a good period of time where it dominated the meta. Need one Kespa Cup off of it. And the next thing that came out in the meta was that Charge a lot Archon style that really started actually taking over PvP for a bit. Now you mixed in some solid Immortals and everything, and it can get really difficult actually to take on those kind of armies depending on where the fights happen.
Certainly can. Nina's army is definitely a bit more squishy, a bit more brittle. Definitely mobile though, and she is building up the disruptor count, getting a second robo now. Bit of an observer getaway here, which MCanning will get it. And his army, the supply, it's a little bit deceiving because it is a very solid army. It's just, oh, that poor Archon. It needs to have the wraparound. It wants to catch Nina out of position here, which Nina, she should know now that the army is over to the right side of the map.
Yeah, kind of a funny little exchange over here as Nina is now actually just going to be diving into that 4th base. Disruptor goes off. It hits one of the Immortals, but the Charge lots pick it off, and the Immortal will, of course, survive that. Big recall happened over there for Nina, and she actually pulls back the rest of her Stalkers as well. So it's going to be a little bit of a wraparound over here. Nina has to be careful not to just run the Disruptor and also some of the Stalkers back home through the rest of the army there and just get picked off slowly but surely. Oh, but the potential for a Warp Prism snipe off is big.
These Stalkers, though, like, I think Nina's definitely going to lose a couple of them, maybe. MCanning, all said and done, he gets a 4th base up and denies that of Nina's. Like, this was definitely nice play by MCanning.
That is absolutely true. I think that is for sure going to be a win there for MCanning. It is worth mentioning, though, that as the game goes on, PvP, if you get up more time for Nina, she's just going to have more Disruptors. And more Disruptors is going to be scary and scary to go up against. So I do wonder, is this now going to be a little window where Nina is now getting up to like her 4th and 5th Disruptor? She can hit before MCanning barely has like a 1 or 2. Might be a nice little window here for Nina.
It certainly would be. That is one Disruptor shot going off, and this count right now, it is getting bigger and scarier. Nina going for that 6 o'clock 4th base now, and she has really good vision of what's going off. Like, she has an observer seeing the whole army. She's like, you know what? I see that. Boom. 5 Zealots gone immediately.
Great pick off right there. MCanning looks like he is setting up for this attack to try and hit in from maybe the like a wraparound on the bottom left. But the Hallucinate Phoenix, just going back to that vision you were talking about. This, I mean, if you want to talk about vision, vision is how he won the Blinkstalker versus, Disruptor versus Blinkstalker Disruptor wars of Kespa Cup. This is one of the most important things to have in PvP sometimes.
You know, when your unit that you feel synonymous with is the Disruptor, and you're potentially against somebody that so far is winning every Disruptor battle, that just hurts. It stings.
I couldn't agree more right now, Ben. This is kind of rough. Nina is bullying MCanning back. MCanning trying to come in with a wraparound, though. Zealot's coming in from behind. They're going to be on top of these Disruptors. One Disruptor shot does go off and picks off a handful of these Zealots. And look at just the insane swell of Zealots right now. Ben, there are 33 Zealots out of the map right now.
That was way... You talked about it, like high risk, low reward. Well, link it in like that. That was a super high risk situation, and it didn't pay off for Nina whatsoever. She's still in this game. She absolutely still is. And that amount of Zealots, I was about to say, I kind of want Nina to maybe go something that isn't Disruptors just to help with that huge Zealot count. Or 2 Disruptors with a Dream.
Yeah, it looks like the Dream not going to be fully realized there, but Nina will at least keep the Zealot off her tail over there. We do have that Disruptor count just growing and growing. We're back at 3 Disruptors for each of these players, interestingly enough as well. So in a lot of ways, I want to say that things are reset, but if we're talking about the army compositions, Ben, one lesson every Protoss player who tried going Disruptors with charge lots learned at the very beginning of Legacy of the Void is those are 2 units that don't complement each other very well. I'm going to let my units charge into you, and then I'm going to fire a friendly fire ball of death into both my Zealots and your army. Yeah,
but MCanning, like, he kind of has no... Well, it looks like he's just happy doing that. Like, he has got Blink on the way and stuff now, which is all well and good. He's taking a 5th base behind this. But I think he was just so happy with how that sandwich went, because, yeah, it went beyond well. But you're totally right. Like, I definitely like Nina's position more in this game, weirdly enough.
Yeah.
Ooh,
oh my God.
I did.
Great connection. Great connection for MCanning over there. The Disruptor is another Disruptor coming out over here. And Zealots can't exactly blink out of the Disruptor shot, so they really do have to rely a little bit more on splitting and that kind of thing. But yeah, it definitely gets really interesting, and I completely agree with what you're saying, though. The wraparound potential for the Zealots does actually accentuate the Disruptors. It's just, can you get it?
Absolutely, absolutely. Nina fighting at the top here, now getting charge of her own with Zealots, so the run buys will be a lot stronger. This is a precarious position for the Disruptors, and okay, only one going down. That could have been way worse. Nice flip.
I love that both these players just let their Disruptors go forward and just nothing else to support them. They both are just like, but whose Disruptor versus Disruptor control is better? Forget Stalkers, forget Zealots, just Disruptors versus Disruptors.
This is going to start turning into a battle of pride almost, I feel, like with the Disruptors going at it. But that does make me worry for MCanning a little bit, because he is behind on the Disruptor count here.
Yeah, you know, I think it's funny too, because I think both of these players are the kind of players who will think of that kind of thing. These are the kind of players who will be like, yeah, I mean, Disruptors are like my unit, and will think MCanning, and Nina will think like, yeah, I'm gonna beat you with your own unit. Like, she's very conscious of that kind of thing.
MCanning does have vision because he has an observer here in the DT battle in the north, and Nina hasn't really... Well, now she's taken a 5th base, which is cool, and it's MCanning that he kind of got bullied back a bit. I felt if there was a moment for him, it would have been when he got that sandwich and attacking across the map, but it's so hard to deal damage against a player with Disruptors.
Yeah, very hectic as a lot of things are happening out on the map. As we have DTs harassing Zealots, a Disruptor shot going off, and a big run by getting prepped in the top right-hand side. Potentially, could that be a flank? If all those... No, the Zealots are actually going to go for the run by. I was going to say, if he flanked with that, I feel like that could be the big dream engagement that MCanning was looking for. But this engagement over here for Nina is going to be really, really tough for MCanning to break through. Look at how many Disruptors Nina has. She has 11 Disruptors. You can't break that. MCanning just has to go for a base trade.
But I like Nina's position here more, right? Like, she's the one that she initiated the base trade way before, but MCanning has some Disruptors waiting at the top of that rank. That could be a big deal. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God, Ben.
You know, we all saw it coming. We all saw it coming, but didn't make it any less brutal.
A disruptor and a dream, Ben. A disruptor and a dream. Oh my god. Knocking out so many of the Ruptors there for Nina. Now Nina reduced down to the same number of disruptors as MCanning. MCanning able to keep most of these disruptors alive. I do also want to say MCanning split up his units a lot more, which I think is easier to do with, you know, Zealot-based army. But by splitting up these units, he has been able to, I feel like, even after starting later, take out a lot more of these bases faster.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the Zealot DT army that he had as well, it just dealt damage a lot faster than these Stalkers. This is a nice wall off. Buying a little time is Nina. She does have a disruptor back there as well, which gets a few of her own Zealots, but does deal damage. It gets the job done.
Yeah, keep an eye out. There are 3 observers for both of these players out on the map right now. Nina down to 12 workers. I was going to just say, this does get to the point where observers for vision on disruptor versus disruptor battles, as well as even just the 2 DTs that MCanning has kept alive during all of this, would become really, really important. I think that there is an observer with Nina's army somewhere.
Oh my
question mark.
Nina didn't micro those Zealots at all. They just, that was like 20 of them that hooked those disruptors to their deaths. That was definitely a mistake, but I think she was looking at something else going on.
Oh, MCanning does not actually have any disruptors over here, so he's going to end up losing quite a few very expensive units. Shield battery overcharge also gets popped and gets taken out. Oh, DT is spotted out. There is vision over here for Nina, and MCanning down to almost half the army supply of Nina right now. It really does seem like it's going to be a tough fight for MCanning. He's using his disruptors the best he can, but loses the disruptor versus disruptor battle down to half the disruptors almost of Nina.
Well, like MCanning, he's definitely behind here, like super behind. He's still got a base that's, well, can't mine actually. He's got 2 probes left. Yeah, he's got 2 probes left. He needs to make some pylons. And Nina, well, what she got left? I mean, at least she's mining so much. She's got more probes and a bigger army. This is such a horrible position for MCanning to be in.
Yeah, not only is Nina mining, she's not supply blocked. She can actually warp in more stalkers right now as she gradually gets some more resources. She is going to be in a much more advantageous position. As long as she doesn't take a big disruptor shot to the face, I think she will be able to bully MCanning's units back like that.
More disruptors equals more power here. And MCanning's buying quite a bit of time, but he has to be so freaking careful here. And he's dancing around what is kind of his last base here. I mean, it pretty much is. It's his only nexus. If this goes down, that's it.
There it is. The blink forward onto the disruptors as they're a little too far forward to actually defend. Disruptor's still on cooldown for a second. Nina goes for the 1-shot, goes for the 2-shot, forces out the GG, and Nina takes the first game.
You know, that was, I think in Nina's head, that was a little too close for comfort, you know, because I felt that she got out of that mid-game situation, which was a bit scary, but she was the one that got to disruptors way before she survived. But disruptor battles, man, they can be so brutal at the best of times.
PvP, I feel like in some ways is reminding me a little bit of TVT, where it's like, you can think you're ahead in TVT, especially if you look at like workers and all that stuff, but all you need is just to find your opponent at a position once in TVT to bring it back. For PvP, it's like, all you need is one disruptor hit, one moment, or one good like DT run by or something, and just everything turns on its head. It is a brutal matchup to stay ahead in. I will put it that way.
You know, Ravi, this is not about the game at all. I like that your clan tag on the previous server was I lose, and then on this server it's mass DT. you are creative. As
the sole proprietor of the clan mass DT, yes, this is on this account. I do have the mass DT clan, but I do also have the clan tag I lose on my other account. So I'm a diverse man.
A diverse man. Okay. Jagannath, though, will be our second map of the series. How do you feel about this one between them? Because in my head, I'm like, that's a lot of speed zones. And, you know, to quote a famous Finn, maybe the most famous Finn that has ever lived, he said, Man, those balls are fast. Or how fast are those balls even?
Yeah, it's actually like I think of disruptors on Beckett Industry. What I think of when I think of speedballs. But Juggernaut is another one where there are absolutely some of the speed zones in the center, especially that they do speed up the disruptor shots. And it's funny because it's almost a little bit like the AI is not 100% ready for it, because it'll show you like the lines of how far a disruptor shot can go. And everyone has their built-in intuition for how far a disruptor shot can go. But if you just fire the disruptor shot through a speed zone, it goes a lot further than everyone expects, Ben.
Absolutely does. Absolutely does. But if there's anybody that might be good or know how far it actually does go, it's going to be one of these two. Spawning over the bottom left-hand side, representing Psystorm Gaming, it is Nina.
And up here in the top right-hand corner of the map, the red Protoss player, a man so great, he mentored me to his Kespa Cup championship. It is MCanning.
Speaking of Neeb and speaking of MCanning, I like it when they had the interview questions like, which unit do you relate to most? And MCanning's like, yeah, I relate to the Disruptor. Like, it got me to be a bit better in the ladder. And then Neeb's like, yeah, the Disruptor. It helped me win Kespa Cup. And it's like, yeah, these are two pretty big different things. But yeah, I like those interview segments with the funny questions.
They are pretty great, and I still stand by the fact that, of course, it makes sense. You know, if MCanning was Neeb's mentor and master, then of course it would make sense that he inherits the same unit as his master.
I also like it when the master, he's like, you know, I'm going to give everybody else a chance with it, right? Like, if I was at Kespa Cup, Neeb, you might, you know, your legacy might not have even been a thing. Oh, he trapped his probe over there. That's, I like these smiles about it, though.
Yeah, as long as you recognize it early on, it's not the end of the world. You know, I think MCanning does have some of the funniest retorts and stuff. I remember there was a Cheesadelphia. Cheesadelphia where he actually ended up beating Neeb and knocking Neeb, who was the reigning Cheesadelphia champion, out of it. It was actually in like Washington D.C. and stuff, one of the Cheesadelphia season finals. And I remember they're just getting set up, they're unwinding their keyboard and stuff. I'm kind of like, I have him on camera and everything, like talking about this. And I'm like, so how do you feel going up to Neeb? Like going up against Neeb over here. And it's like, well, you know, Neeb is like a son to me. And sometimes you have to put your son in their place. I'm like, oh my God, I love it. And then he went on to beat Neeb. So he lives up to the hype sometimes.
I think Canning was one of the greatest things to ever happen to America. I love his fan base are always very supportive. It feels like it's good, non-toxic support as well, right?
Yeah.
Like it's never about like, oh, that guy's bad. Like, of course MCanning's going to beat him. It's MCanning's so good, of course he's going to beat him. Like it's anything like that where it is like just filled with or fueled with positivity behind it. Yeah, I'm behind that. I'm behind the can, man.
I'm so with you on that. Every time it's like MCanning is hype because when he beats someone, it's like MCanning is so good. He beat this really good player. Like the other player is really good, and that's what makes MCanning so good, is that he beats really good players. It's actually just all pats and hugs all around. I'm on board with it too. We do have an interesting little development over here. There's this proxy pile that MCanning went for, but Nina tried to go after it, and there's 4 stalkers that now show up over here, and I think one of these stalkers should die. Oh!
Wow, that was quite the get out of jail free card. By the way, there is one thing that I've found quite amusing here. Like this reminds me of the Alpha Star times, because they have both done something very different here with how they've approached their expanding. Oh, okay. Nina went up to like 30 probes before taking the Nexus, totally Alpha Star, whereas MCanning went for the Nexus at like 24 and then started making workers. What does the income graph say? That's what I'm
pretty sure.
Alpha Star, man. Alpha Star.
Alpha Star, man. It changed Mana's mind. It changed the world's mind. Some Force Fields locking in a couple of these stalkers over here. So MCanning getting some okay trades, but the Adepts really do complicate things. The full wall up over here, you can also see there's a lot of idle probes now for MCanning. So even if he manages to push this back with the shield battery, Nina's going to be really happy with all of those trades on top of just the damage that she just did, killing off 3 sentries, 2 stalkers, an adept, forcing out another pylon and the cancel, the lost mining time. Nina's getting really far ahead right now.
Yeah, this is getting a bit brutal. This is getting really brutal. Like, Nina, she's got all the freedom in the world. They're both going for the exact same thing, the blink. And Nina's just bullying him around. Okay, yeah. I was about to say, you can't fight that, though. She's like, that green battery of doom over there. Nina responds appropriately, kills everything she can in one shot. But as soon as it's like, okay, I can't kill anything anymore, backs off. And now that battery's out of energy and she's back again. Really good play by Nina.
Yep, leading with that adept as well, trying to absorb some of that earlier damage. Has some more stalkers reinforcing from that proxy pylon on the top left-hand side, but Nina is finally going to back off and just leave the adept there to try and ensure that MCanning is staying on top of those pylons, preventing any kind of easy focus on just macro without anything else going on. MCanning is trying to get up his Robo behind this, as well as chrono boosting out that blink a little bit ahead of Nina. So I'm curious if he will try and step out onto the map with the few stalkers he does have.
That is cute by MCanning. He's like, you know what? I am fed up of making this shield battery constantly. I'm going to block a shade with the only other thing that can, besides a building, his own shade. Look at this.
Yeah.
Beautiful play.
Yeah. The Adept Shade actually does finish up over there for Nina, and there's a shield battery here, so shouldn't be at risk of losing anything. Ben, I have a question for you. Do you think a Disruptor shot can block an Adept Shade?
Oh, actually, now that you've said it, yes. Do you know?
Yeah, I wonder about that too.
You don't know?
I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer.
It's got to, right? Like,
I think so. That's also my guess as well. But yeah, it's fun to think about those like little situations that people don't really think about as much.
Yeah, I can just imagine a little Disruptor sat on top of her. It's like, yeah, block that Adept Shade. But
and then you destroy your building.
Yeah, it's like one of the most useless blocks of all time. But no, it's definitely curious. Okay, all things said and done though. So Nina, she actually doesn't have a worker lead despite all this that's gone on. Definitely going for the more powerful army though, and yeah, she pounces on this before the shield battery is done, and they're both microing really well. Going for the shield battery here. This, like MCanning, it's going to be so hard to hold this. They're both microing really well, actually.
Yeah, MCanning's bringing back some stalkers, but Nina actually flanks in with a couple of stalkers, are now forcing a few pros to be pulled. Zealots get warped in over here for MCanning, and MCanning has the faster reinforcements, but Nina has the overwhelming numbers. GG, Nina takes a 2-0 lead in this best of 5. Ben, honestly, that is the kind of game that I'm a little bit afraid of for MCanning, because those are the kind of games that made me think that I know that they've played before, where it's like Nina just doesn't let MCanning get to that Disruptor gameplay. I'm actually really amazed that she got or allowed MCanning to get there in the first game. We saw how dangerous it can get, but if Nina doesn't let MCanning get there, games can get a bit more one-sided.
Yeah, this was far more what I kind of thought we'd see. Like, I felt like Nina was testing the water a little bit in the first game and seeing what MCanning's currently made of, and it's like, wow, if I let him get away with it, like he's actually playing really damn good. But yeah, this game she just kind of went pedal to the metal right from the get-go. It was like, okay, MCanning, let's not let you breathe too much. The early game with the pylon, like trying to kill that on the far right, was it's a bit messy, but yeah, she absolutely just she took MCanning by the scruff of his neck, right, and just absolutely made him play her kind of game, which turns out Nina's very, very strong when she wants to bully him around.
Yeah, that Blink Stalker micro from Nina. So there's the one thing that everyone knows about Blink Stalker micro, right? Which is my stalkers are damaged, and now I will blink my damaged stalkers back. Like, that's what everyone knows. That's just something you can even do. You can start incorporating into your gameplay, even if you're in like Gold League or something, right? Or Silver League. The extra thing, like the next level step that's really difficult to pull off is my stalker, I mean, especially versus like another stalker or something, my stalker is getting targeted or hit by another stalker or another projectile weapon that takes time to actually move in and attack. I'm going to wait to blink until they have fired their shot. And if I blink back after they fired their shot, their attack literally just disappears. It's like their unit just decided to like move command for 2 seconds or 3 seconds. That is what Nina was doing during that fight, and I really think that helped out quite a bit in helping her take such a dominating fight.
Definitely could be. Okay, so third map of the series. Currently 0-2 down. He needs your love, Twitch chat. Spawning over in the top right-hand side. Representing America, it is MCanning.
And down here in the bottom left-hand side of the map, we have the blue Protoss player currently at match point from Storm Gaming. She is Nina. You know what, Ben? I got a fun factoid from you. From another incredible and wonderful, lovable Protoss player who can rushes all of his games. Printf comes in hot with me with a tip to me on Discord and says, disruptor shots and shades, in fact, do not collide.
Good facts, good facts. I wonder how many kind of layers of units they have, because obviously you have shades, you have disruptor stuff. Like disruptors can block other disruptors with their shots. So I wonder how many there is, but that's always good to know.
Yeah, I even wonder, I think the disruptors can block other disruptor shots, but I do wonder, I haven't like looked closely enough, or I'm trying to think about it now. Is there actually a blocking, or is it maybe that the disruptor shots do technically block adepts, but their unit width for the disruptor shot is so small that it doesn't actually like create a wall?
I wonder if this, like, if you could ever find a peak in how many people loaded up the Legacy of the Void unit tester, they actually did that all at the same time. Maybe it's had the highest peak of all time based on people just trying these little things. But whenever I've seen the disruptor battles, there's always, if there's two disruptors firing, there's always that little touch in the middle where you can see like the unit ring where it kind of like goes around one another. But yeah, definitely interesting. I mean, unit pathing's like funny in general, like the way that workers can collide or just bypass each other and everything like that.
Ooh, man. Yeah, we have to talk about what's going on in this game right now. Nina has done an excellent job denying MCanning's Nexus for a fair bit longer than MCanning was able to deny Nina's. Nina was able to actually like get her Nexus down. Even without the probe for MCanning actually ended up dying. It got out of there alive and everything. But Nina just kept doing those pylon blocks. And now her Nexus, I want to say it's like a good 30 or so seconds ahead.
The part that I find really interesting about this is whenever I've seen this on like the European server, it's always a Stargate follow-up, like always. Whereas both these players here, they're like, you know what? I'm going for the second gate afterwards. And Nina going, in fact, both of them going Twilight. This is super unusual for me to see, but I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot.
Yeah. You know, it's also kind of funny with Nina also getting the faster Nexus, but beyond that, she's also got a fair amount more chrono. She's got like 113 chrono boost saved up, whereas MCanning's just been chrono boosting on probes, but they're still even on workers. It does make me think Nina might even be able to have a slightly faster blink here as well. I'm not sure if it's going to have a huge impact, but even that, or yeah, the forge that goes up a little bit faster for Nina as well. Faster +1 weapons. Like these little things can start to make a difference if you're hitting crisp timings.
Yeah, I'm going to have a little look at the unit count. So we have MCanning that had quite a few earlier sentries here. He was safe with the shield battery in the main. That was just something probably like an Oracle. In fact, they both went for shield batteries in the main. Because I guess that is kind of part and parcel of these openings here. You don't necessarily know what you're up against, but it's usually so standard to go for an Oracle or something like that. But yeah, we've got a fairly even game on our hands with Nina taking a few edges, but that doesn't mean MCanning's down and out.
Oh, by absolutely no means. Everything here is recoverable, but it is small still. These small little edges that are worth noting. Just saying that Nina is slightly finding little ways in the earlier stages of the game to get tiny leads.
Did you see that Zealot?
No, I missed it.
It was dancing.
Was it Nina's?
It was Nina's. It was just...
Yeah.
Here it was, just Now he's not dancing, but I don't know. I forgot.
That's such
I
a
forgot
Nina
the
thing.
units danced. Actually, like I've been looking for new ways to BM people. Like the mana mule, it's a bit brutal, but the dance, mate, that always gives me a chuckle. Look at it.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. You know what? This is actually the most Nina thing ever, also, because Nina is the player who, in both tournaments, like where I think she's allowed to, as well as even just on the ladder and stuff, she's like a very chatty Kathy who loves to just kind of have fun and enjoy StarCraft. Do throw a little dance in there, do a little banter back and forth. Very much a fun, kind of happy-going person, but at the same time, we also see there's the big flood of gateways, the warp prism, which is oftentimes the big signal of thinking about finally doing a big little move out over here. That is going to be a little bit less fun for MCanning to face off against.
Sorry, I've been thinking about that Zealot dance, but these numbers are very close, like 49 probes apiece. The stalker counts are fairly close. MCanning being the one, in fact, Nina's the one getting the warp prism, so probably looking to just get this game. I don't want to say get it over with, because it's going to be tough, but her micro in the previous game was really damn good. Oh, I wonder if she's going to go for something in the main here, Ravi.
I think so. That is the signal from those 3 sentries. And you know what's actually really scary about this? Every Protoss player already knows that this kind of thing happens. And Adept Shades, even though the Adepts are going to lose their lives over here, scouting out the Stalkers and the angle that they're coming in from is really helpful over here for MCanning. He now knows that he really has to be wary about the Stalkers potentially going to the main base or something. And Nina is, in fact, going to go to the 3rd base instead of going for some kind of, force field your opponent out of their own main base play.
Yeah, I like the fact that she kind of gets out of there pretty quickly, though. MCanning will lose a sentry. These engagements, these little moves that Nina's doing, she's putting on so much pressure. Like, MCanning he's almost fearing for his life at every moment that Nina pops up, and she's just gaining a little lead here. And that was quite the blink.
Yeah, I think MCanning, he just caught a little whiff of the warp prism, or he saw like maybe a unit being warped in and thought, your units are too far back, I can blink forward and snipe this off, and even if I lose a stalker or two, it'll be worth it. But just not even being in range to get the warp prism, not being able to do it. I love
those 2 adepts. I love them so much.
Sentry, force field. Okay, gonna lock out a few of the stalkers, but there's the blink forward, snipes off the warp prism. A lot of the stalkers for Nina did make their way into the main base, and they now basically have to use their blink to just escape over here, and MCanning can give chase.
Yeah, like MCanning actually dealt with that pretty damn well. I'm just looking at this worker count, Ravi, like 69 probes for Nina. Like, she's so far ahead, but if MCanning, okay, he needs to have some killer instinct now, because he actually does have somewhat momentum here. But if he just sits back, he's just going to be in a position where he's letting Nina just be so far ahead economically.
Yeah, I'm with you, Ben. But at the same time, there's this like weird part of me that's also just thinks conventional wisdom does not apply to MCanning, right? Like, it's like, does MCanning just go and do something right now? Or does he go to like kind of his comfort zone again and get up, the robotics bay and sit back and say, well, at least I know you can't just immediately attack me again with a superior army. He has +2 weapons. Nina's only just now finishing up her +2 weapons. If MCanning starts getting up the disruptors, like that actually still just might be his comfort zone, even if he's playing a little bit from behind economically.
You see, I was looking at those timings and I was like, okay, you've got an upgrade lead. You've taken a bit of a beating, or economically a bit of a beating, but you've killed the army. Like, if we look at the resources lost tab, Nina's lost more. I was just looking at that and I'm like, okay, some killer instinct here. And that is... MCanning, he's just such a Care Bear, man. Like, he loves, he doesn't want to kill. And it's Nina that's just, she's really getting to bully MCanning around this game, which is a bit unfortunate, but you can see the freedom that she has on her side of the map. She doesn't give a damn.
I mean, not just her side of the map at this point, right? It's almost a little bit MCanning's side of the map that she's roaming around pretty freely on. MCanning, I think, maybe thinking about a 4th base at some point in the near future. He's been sending out these little scouting zealots and probes and stuff that have been basically running into this big army of Nina. So MCanning's playing it very close to the chest right now. A hallucinating Phoenix is going to try and make its way out. It is going to make its way past all the stalkers, safely. And oh, I actually really like this. The Warp Prism was sent to the left-hand side. Going ahead with the Hallucinate Phoenix is actually a really nice way to just ensure, okay, this Prism is going to have an opportunity to get something done. I'm going to see what's in the main base. And he even has the Dark Shrine on the way. So he's going to confirm before sending any DTs or anything to the main that there is, in fact, a cannon in the mineral line.
Gets to see the tech as well, the transition to disruptors. Nina, she's got so many stalkers here. MCanning, his army's on the right side, but he's kind of being caught out a little bit here. And is this going to be an... Okay, he is coming back home, and he is going to meet this army. Blinking very aggressively. Nina's so caught out of position here, though. She did not expect this.
Woo. Oh my god, a big disruptor hit actually comes in with a disruptor from the back. MCanning ties up the supply for a moment before more units get warped in there for Nina. But remember, MCanning also has that Warp Prism as I think somewhere ready. Oh my god, did he lose the Warp Prism? He lost the Warp Prism.
I wondered to what? Like, where did it go?
There's nothing even in the main base outside of the cannons. I have no idea.
I guess our observer was frantically trying to show us that maybe he got F2'd back there or something. I'm not entirely sure, but Nina, she absolutely didn't expect that army to be on the right side. And MCanning is like, hey, this went pretty well over here. Like, he is trying to work his way over to that fourth base of Nina. Disruptor got out of there.
Blinking forward versus a disruptor is always so scary, Ben.
It certainly is. MCanning's getting something set up here, though. Like, he's getting...
Oh, my God.
Oh, wow. Such ballsy blinks by both of them, man. Like, this is very frantic. MCanning getting the better trade, the better end of things, but two cannons in the main. Oh, this feels like Nina knows who her opponent is.
Yeah, you're going to need 4 DTs in order to actually break through those kind of things. Even if there is a shield battery overcharge, you can back off and go to a different base or something. But 4 DTs... going to be a key number to try and get something done there. Nina's moving across the map again, and she's doing zoning out disruptor shots for where she thinks MCanning's army might be. She's going to be surprised to learn that MCanning's army is, in fact, at her bottom right-hand base. And, well, Ben, I hope you liked the last base trade for the first game, because we're getting another.
Yeah, we certainly are. And Nina, like, MCanning's got just less economy to work with again. Like, even though 15 probes have gone down, he was only on 60 to start with. So Nina, she's got more time to build up some kind of defense, but this is brutal, man. Like, look at these supplies. It's like Nina's actually holding off with slow zealots here, which is super funny.
Yeah, she is. And I'm also thinking about the DT potential here. I mean, the Dark Shrine's still in the main base there for MCanning. I think he did lose some of the DTs already, and there's still the disruptors around. There's still the observer and everything, but I would not hate if MCanning warped in some DTs and started sending them to like the peripheral bases Nina's mining from. Let those take care of them, and then just go gung-ho straight for the production.
This disruptor, this could be huge, and oh my goodness. That was really, really big. He fights back with his own disruptor, taking out one, but Nina, just bigger, better, stronger, it felt like this game.
Yeah, there's another big disruptor hit for Nina. Oh, man. MCanning's army has been dwindled down so much. A recall is not going to work out. He shakes his head. He's typing out the GG. There it is. Nina takes a 3-0 and is going to move on to the next round of the playoffs.